Okay, I want to add some new context to this scene. I'm not going to deny anything, but I will bring in a new idea. The most well-known idea in the community is that Jinx used her shimmer powers to get away from the explosion and then went inside the air ducts and cooling system. The second part of the idea is known because in a scene, Caitlyn goes to check the schematics of the hex gates and specifically looks at the air ducts and cooling system, which are these ones. The thing is, none of these cooling systems and air ducts can be seen inside this room. However, the purple trail moves away from the explosion up until it's off screen. So if that is Jinx, she would have to walk all the way back and drop inside this other room. You're probably thinking to yourself, what other room are you talking about? Okay, let's first determine where we are at right now. So as you can see, all of these pipes are moving to the center of the room, which can be seen right here, and another image which showcases the same pipes moving to the center of the room. And yes, that opening is made by Jinx's lair, which can be seen here as well. Another image where you can see the same room, and that location over there in the center is not solid ground. That's the place through which Jace and Victor pop through whenever they go to the top of the hex gates. So now that we know there is another room, let us see it. So this is Jace and Victor going through the room, and you won't be able to see any air ducts or cooling systems in this image or in the scene itself. The air ducts and cooling systems are at the upper level, and this scene is probably taking place up until a lower point than this one. So how do we know that's the same place? If you simply follow the room from the pipe room to the Hextech room, because yes, these are most likely Hextech gems because of the color and the effects, you can see these pairs of lines with Hextech gems inside of them, which are represented in the schematic by these. So now you might be thinking to yourself, why does it matter in relation to Jinx's fate? As I mentioned close to the beginning of the video, if this is Jinx, well, the trail goes off screen and she would have to walk all the way back and drop inside this room. Of course, that is if she actually has to go through the air ducts, because she has another option. She can simply walk through the opening made by her lair and then slowly drop down to a lower level where she would be able to probably find a route which would take her to the lowest level of the hex gates and then outside of the hex gates. Unless Echo swoops in and takes her with the hoverboard, and that's how he finds out that Jinx is alive and she wants to leave Piltover and Zon. Okay, now we have the first idea. She could simply walk back and drop inside the air ducts, or she could go through the opening made by her lair. Okay, now I'm about to say something controversial. What if that purple line is not Jinx and it's only part of the explosion? We know from the scene whenever Echo saves her that you can see purple lines coming out of the explosion. So what would happen in that case? As soon as Victor loses control over Warwick, he becomes primal again, but not only that, you can also see him crying. That's mega important because Vander is still inside. If you go further in the scene, he is going to take out or take down Jinx with him, and Jinx will move closer, and that's when you can see the tears even better. A memory will play out, and this is a memory played out by Vander inside Warwick. Warwick can be seen crying because inside the memory, Vander is crying or tearing up. He is looking at Powder. Powder is the main focus of this, in my opinion. Vi is also there, but Powder would make sense to be the main focus because he is looking at Jinx in real life, and in the memory, he is looking at Powder. Okay? And one final thing he's going to do, he's going to save Jinx from the explosion by pushing her underneath it, and that's how she's going to end up inside the ventilation. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea, or are you going to stick with the previous idea, which is still popular? Maybe you have your own idea. Type it in the comment section.